Hello everyone, this is Joseph Fosco with American News Post's Roundtable discussion for today, January the 17th, 2014. As you can see, my co-host Franco Canati is here today.
I'm Franco Canati.
And we have a special guest today who's going to speak up a little bit at the end of our usual roundtable segment. When we bring back, we're going to actually bring back our sports piece.
Segment.
We're going to bring it in the same segment, but at the end. And this is Michael Carter, by the way. And he's a resident of the northwest side of Chicago and a sports buff, obviously. Good day, everyone.
Hi,
Joe.
So, why don't we do something on, talk a little bit about your recent article on the shenanigans of the village of Elmwood Park, Illinois. I see that you wrote something about the John Wazelenko, the now
That was shaking down the old man, the 85-year-old.
allegedly shaking down the old man, even though there's a check that's all over the internet with
Listen,
signature.
Dave Savini said he was shaking him down.
Allegedly.
Poor Dave Savini's in trouble now.
But I think Dave Savini even uses the word allegedly when he does.
Does he
refer
say
to this.
alleged?
I believe he does.
How about
Yes.
his alleged DUI? Is that alleged?
Until there's a finding of guilt, I guess yes, it would be alleged.
Well, the article is basically explaining who's involved, I think, with this whole Wazelenko.
Wazelenko.
I could write his name better than I can say it.
Sure.
And the whole situation, it's a sad state of affairs what's going on in Elmwood Park. The people that run the town, they have no morals, no ethics. When you allow a cop for a year to be shaking down an 85-year-old man with dementia, and allegedly shaking down an old man with dementia, you get the complaint from the bank a year ago, and you do nothing about it.
Do you think that, and I believe the village of Elmwood Park, the village attorney released a statement saying that they didn't want to thwart any effort or the investigation that was going on into Wazelenko.
That's the easy way out.
Do you think that that's a valid claim why they would keep a sergeant in uniform on duty and allow him access to background or just allow him access to the public while armed with a gun and in a squad car? Do you think do you think that there's any way around it?
No, because do
you think there's any way around?
he should have been taken off the street until the investigation was complete. They do that with police, they do it with fire, they do it with everybody.
Michael,
He has some input.
Michael, you have some. You have a relative. I won't go into your personal life too much, but I'll just generally speak about it. You have an immediate relative
From Chicago.
in law enforcement, or maybe retired from law enforcement. In your experience and being closely related to a member of law enforcement, what are your feelings on the allegation that a police officer would take a $20,000 gift from an elderly resident suffering from dementia? Do you find that?
Well, better question is, what would the procedure be, do you think?
Normally, I believe somebody is relieved of their police power
Right,
at the time
right,
till the investigation is complete
right,
until they come out with their findings.
exactly right.
That's normally what happens.
Right. They don't leave them on the street to run wild while they figure out what happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
It's like a Catholic priest, right? When they catch them molesting kids, don't they bring them in or?
now they do.
Nah.
Years
It's
ago.
not even funny. It's
No, it
insane
isn't.
what's
It
going
isn't.
on.
It isn't.
It's a church, but back.
Not funny at all.
Yeah.
The irony of it, I guess, might have been so alarming that it caused us to have a nervous giggle or something.
That's normal procedure when they have an internal affairs department, but I don't know if a town that small has an internal affairs department.
Right.
The complaint was made with the state police or whoever. But
I think the
honestly,
complaint
it didn't go that far.
The complaint was made with the Cook County Sheriff's. Initially, the Brookfield Police Department, then somehow the Sheriff's Department found jurisdiction in the matter, then the Cook County State's Attorney's Office, and eventually the Public Guardian got involved, filing a lawsuit against Wesolenko, and then at that point the village decided that they were going to do something for whatever the reasons. They finally acted about a year after the fact, and
He just recently got indicted, right?
then he was indicted, yes, just a short time after
And what were
he was
the-
relieved.
Do you remember what the charges are?
I believe there were two charges: exploitation, financial exploitation of an elder, and official misconduct.
Yeah.
And I believe one of it was a Judge Panarisi, Donald Panarisi Jr. Released them on an I bond. In one way, I could understand His Honor's decision. Wesolenko turned himself in, which is contrary to what a person that is a flight risk would do.
Right.
He had many years on duty as a police officer, clean record, no priors. So I could, in that sense, I could understand His Honor's decision. On the other hand, I think His Honor dropped the ball because he had the opportunity to issue a high bond or a bond, any kind of
Right,
bond,
right.
to send an example to the community.
Elmwood Park.
Yeah, if you engage in any kind of activity that's going to turn into
Illegal acts.
illegal actions, especially against someone with dementia, think twice, because
But then we're also talking about Elmwood Park, and that's another black eye for Elmwood Park. I mean, they constantly try to skirt around the law all the time.
Mhm.
In this
In your
case,
opinion,
I think in a lot of people's opinion,
Okay.
when you say Elmwood Park, the first thing that comes out of people's mind is gangsters.
well, a lot
I
of
mean,
the,
it's just like Taylor Street used to be in Grand and Western. You know,
Yes.
these are tough neighborhoods. I
Yes.
wouldn't even compare Elmwood to these other neighborhoods, but that's the reputation they have as being a home for where the gangsters all settled.
right.
Johnny DeFranco, I mean, he's probably,
He doesn't actually live in Elmwood
but he
Park.
did his family.
He did live, his little boy
The
at the time.
Calabreses, they lived in Elmwood Park.
Right. Yes. I think the first gangster that I'm aware of that moved to Elmwood Park, and this was probably in the late 1940s, was Jack Cerrone.
Jackie Cerrone.
Yes.
I mean, that
Probably
place
the-
was known to go there and shut up. Don't speak out of turn. You
Well,
know,
what-
when you went to the bars and stuff.
I
it was
think
a tough place.
what the gangsters liked about these small towns on the outskirts of the city was, one, they were still close enough to the city to
Right, to do
remain,
their business, right.
and it gave them an easier segue to the politicians in
Right,
that
they
town.
could control
It was just
right.
a 30-man police department that they could
They were protected
commandeer,
in those
as
towns,
opposed
right.
to a police department with 5,000
Right.
police
The
officers.
Borsalinos had,
Uh-huh.
Lombard, I remember, so controlled for some reason.
Yes.
You know, they lived there and you couldn't get.
Oh,
near the
really?
Borsal- Yeah, the
I-
Lombard police.
When I
were
said
protected.
yes, I meant, oh, I understand what
yeah,
you're
right.
saying, but
But Elmwood
I
Park
don't
was
know
like,
anything about that.
everybody, well, not everybody, I guess, doesn't know that the police department takes orders from the outfit. They'll check with them first.
I firmly believe that some police departments are like that. I think Elmwood Park, in my opinion, Elmwood Park and the Melrose Park police departments are the kind of police departments that will take
Plus their high school
advice
kids suck
from-
at football too.
Absolutely, they definitely need
With
to
all
work
those
on
tough
the
guys there,
northwest
you'd think they'd have a good football team.
Yeah, it doesn't work that.
And Holy Cross was there too. I'm
Holy
sorry,
Cross
I
is-
wanted to jump to sports.
Not a
I
problem.
think they moved there because Grand Avenue. Grand Avenue, you could go out west.
Right.
Straight down Grand Avenue.
the
Go
downtown.
downtown.
It was
You're right.
location.
And
at
a lot
the
of them
time.
were from Grand and West, Grand and
Yeah.
Ogden.
Yes. So for the viewers that need to be brought into the loop on this, there are Chicago factions, Chicago outfit factions that were initially set up in various Chicago neighborhoods: Taylor Street, Grand Avenue, Chicago Avenue, Chinatown, etc., North Side. And I think, Michael, you were referring to the Grand Avenue
Gale
crew.
was loaded, a lot of it.
Yes, thank you.
Loaded.
Well, I'm talking about outfit.
Oh, yeah, right. Well,
You're saying that Grand Avenue was a perfect artery to just move the gang straight on down.
Well,
west.
basically, no, I believe that they moved out there because location of it was you were out of the city,
Mhm.
but you could be into the city in 15 minutes by
Yeah.
taking Grand Avenue.
Right.
Mhm.
And Grand, like you say,
Yeah.
was their route, you know, and I think you're right too, they just followed Grand Avenue down because when the neighborhoods started changing, like on Chicago Avenue, Chicago Grand,
Yes.
you know,
And you were talking about Holy Cross and Mother Guerin High School. For the viewers who are unfamiliar with those schools, those are greater Chicagoland area schools in the outskirts of the city. They're Catholic high schools.
River Grove.
And I think Holy Cross is gone now. Mother Guerin, it's now Mother Guerin College
Guerin Prep.
Yeah.
Guerin
It's a
Prep.
good school.
Yes.
I know a lot of people that go.
I often wondered, I thought it was a shame when I heard, again, for the viewers who are not so familiar with this, there's a village in the Chicagoland area called River Grove. And in River Grove, there are two Catholic high schools. There used to be for many years two Catholic high schools. There was a school for the boys, which was known as Holy Cross High School. In fact, I think that's where you went to school.
Along from Holy Cross, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I believe that the school adjacent to it was the school for the girls called Mother Guerin. Well, in recent years, with cutbacks and things, with all the budgeting for education with the Catholic Church, they consolidated the schools. And the girls' school, Mother Guerin, the new school that was combined started to be, went under the name Mother Guerin. Holy Cross was just eliminated from the equation.
The sisters always said that they would never fold to Holy Cross.
Mhm.
That Holy Cross
You were
would
right.
fold to them.
You're right.
And it was, right before it happened, I'd say a couple of years, they sent out asking for donations and they built
I don't believe
a
that.
new gym.
Church was asking for
And then,
money.
and then it folded, and the school
They
folded.
would have all the money.
They built a gym,
They did build it out.
but the school folded in the Guerin Prep.
Yeah.
I always joked around by saying I think the church, the Roman Catholic Church, at least the business side of it, and the Chicago outfit are very similar. It's like when they get this, the church leaders or the mob leaders, when they cultivate or churn a profit, they take that money,
Turn it
they
in.
wrap it up into like tinfoil bricks, and they bury it, and they don't have it anymore. Now it's time for another fundraiser or shakedown, because there's no more money.
They did build the gym though.
Mhm.
They did build the gym. with the
Does
money.
Gary Lou use the gym?
I believe so,
Yeah.
yes. I think they got a whole process of, they're gonna try to redo the whole school and try to attract new kids to come there.
But now what I was getting at,
Are there, is it going down there? I hate that because it's.
They wanna
near my
wreck some of the
house.
old buildings?
Yeah, is attendance down or?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think they got about 500 kids. I don't know how many took the test. I think the test is either coming up or they just had it. I know a lot of Catholic schools had it on Saturday last week. But
Michael, did you play football when you were at Holy Cross?
Yes, I did.
You did. And how do you feel? And this is what I was getting to, but I'm going to address you with this thought. How do you feel as a former Holy Cross football player? You have children, you have sons.
yes,
How do you feel? I mean, do your sons go to that school?
no, he's too young.
Okay, is he going to go to Guerin?
I don't know where he's gonna go.
Okay, yeah, let's assume he may go to Guerin. If he goes to Guerin, or for the other students you went to school with, the other alumni that have children who are maybe enrolled at Guerin as students, how do you think it feels, or how would it feel for you, knowing that your child is playing for the Mother Guerin football team?
Guerin Gators.
Yeah, Guerin Gators, which was, a girls' school for so many years and still has the reputation of being a girls' school by so many. I think just on the football aspect in itself, the church should have kept the name Holy Cross. for
And
the
I think they're
football
gonna
team.
try to do something,
Yes.
like bringing the cross thing back, but,
Yeah.
you know, in Chicago, a lot of things have changed, obviously, with the public school system. And I've noticed by raising kids, each kid is different that you raise.
Right.
And there's no need to send your kid to Catholic school anymore if it's not a part of, if your son's not gonna be a baseball player, basketball player, football
A
player.
priest.
Because because the public schools out there now are actually good, if not better, than the Catholic
Absolutely.
education right now.
The resources they have.
Yes.
I mean,
God forbid your kid has a problem.
right.
The public
right.
schools could support it now.
I used to tell him all the time, why do you have your daughters in a Catholic high school? That you're spending all this money on
Because
Catholic
my
education.
wife's Sicilian and she's the boss.
And they're great public high schools, and he wouldn't listen to me. And he said, no, I'm gonna spend all the money on a Catholic education.
There's that singer.
But now here's where the academics come into play. But when you reverse things, as far as funding the sports programs in public schools, the funding's not there.
Mhm.
So
I see.
they're
That's
they're
right.
not competitive at all as far as
Sports.
sports go. There's a few teams out there that are Simeon in basketball, King's competitive, Lane's competitive, and on the football field. But when they have to play these teams from the suburbs,
Oh, like,
it's night and day. They
Glen,
can't
Glenbard
compete.
South.
They can't
They're
compete
good
with
every
them.
year, or no, West. It's one of them, the
You know-
high schools that they win on, they're in there every, Rockford Boylan,
Moving-
Montini.
Yes, Montini's really.
And they're a
Oh,
Catholic
stepped up.
school.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm moving along. I wanted to talk about tonight's, we have a pretty big game, not a high school game, but what's the game tonight?
We have the Anaheim Ducks
Mhm.
versus Chicago Blackhawks. And,
There ain't too many Blackhawk fans out there.
no, I don't think so.
The whole city's now, they're Blackhawk fans.
Doesn't seem like our team's been clicking on all cylinders lately. They're trying
Flag,
to,
like, right?
I don't know if they're playing flat or too aggressive in the fact that they're overdoing it. You noticed the other night, did you watch the game?
Yes.
There was one too many passes that happened a lot.
They do that a lot, though.
And they just seem out of sync a little bit. And I forget the name of the play, but in the past it seemed like the Hawks really pushed the puck up and shot at the net. And now they're doing a lot where one of the guys go behind the goalie,
Right,
and they just can't get in sync. It seems
Right.
like.
right.
And one other thing is, when you are the champ, everybody's coming to play you.
You're right,
It doesn't mean if it's a Calgary, Buffalo,
right.
Anaheim.
Right.
They're coming to knock out the
Right.
champ. And they're gonna have to step up if they wanna
To get
continue to
back.
make the push.
I
mean,
agree.
You know
How
the
about their
score.
goalie? How about their goalie? What's going on with that?
I think he's been put in some unfortunate situations. I mean,
Which one, Crawford or?
Crawford the other night, I believe it was Crawford, in that Kane made a mistake.
Mm.
The guy came out of the penalty box on a breakaway on his
Right.
own. It seems like a lot of things are happening in transition
Right.
where the Hawks are not paying attention, they're changing their line, and all of a sudden, you're ahead 2-1 or whatever, they start to play flat, and they'll let the team tie it up.
Yeah,
It seems like they're playing flat lately, once they get ahead too.
right.
If they keep that pressure up, I don't think anybody can beat
Beat
them.
them. And that's what happens, when you start winning too much, you start getting complacent. And you
Absolutely,
go through flat periods like this.
absolutely.
Didn't they do that after their first Stanley Cup a few years back? Didn't they kind of, there was a little bit of a lull with
Well,
their...
when they were undefeated, they lost their first game, it seemed like they came down a little bit, but they won, I don't even wanna say because I forgot, how many did they win last year in a row? Was it 20-something in a row?
Yeah, like 20, some 20,
Which is an
between
unbelievable
20 and
streak.
25, I don't know exactly.
Yeah, when they
But-
lost the first one, they got a little flat, but they came on, I didn't think they'd get by Detroit,
Yeah,
I really didn't.
well, they were a tough team.
Yeah, they were
Absolutely.
down 3-1 and they came back.
They came back.
What's going on with football now?
We got the two games leading up to the Super Bowl, NFL champion, or, I'm sorry, AFC and NFC championship games.
Who's left?
You have the Patriots, New England Patriots, playing the Denver Broncos in Mile High. And then you have San Francisco going up to Seattle.
Who do you think's the elite teams? Who, I mean, they gotta be the 4 elite, but who do you think's the better out of all of
Uh,
them? Is that hard to say right now?
I'm a firm believer that defenses win championships. Hands down, Baltimore Ravens proved it last year.
Right,
They're the best defense coming down the stretch. You got to give it to the Seahawks.
yeah,
I mean, their defense is,
looks awesome.
they have the best corners in football,
Right.
which I think is the hardest position to play, by the way, nowadays.
Because
The
you
way
can't
the
touch
offenses
nobody,
are.
you can't do nothing.
You have to cover, you have to come up with secondary run support, and right now their two corners are playing probably better than any duo I ever seen in the league.
Right.
Um,
How about their
So-
coach?
their coach, Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
He's kind of different.
He is.
He's
Well,
kinda
he's still like
different.
Harbaugh too. They're rah-rah,
Yeah.
you know.
I like coaches like that. I
Yeah,
think
I do
the
too.
team
Absolutely.
team really
Plays
morale's
hard
about
for,
them.
yeah.
You know. So with that, I'm gonna make one prediction. This is the only prediction I got this week. He is going to the Super Bowl.
Wow.
This guy's going to the Super Bowl. One thing I gotta say to Russell Wilson, I don't think he's a great quarterback as far as talent goes. However, I'm not going to compare him to the guy that leads under center here.
Right.
But I know for Christmas, he spent a lot of money and bought a lot of presents for his linemen.
Right.
Where
Wilson.
Yes. Where our guy, he talks about his receivers, but he doesn't ever think the guy's up front.
Right.
And on offense, I am a line coach.
Right.
And if you don't tell them guys every day, hey, without you guys, none of this will happen, because they don't ever get a touchdown, they don't touch the ball.
Right.
They don't. Everybody doesn't cheer for them when they're breaking away. They don't.
They get none of the glory.
They get none of the credit, but they should get all of it.
all of it. You're
And
right,
sometimes when you have them linemen that are down like that, they're not gonna. They're gonna say, hey, you know, we're just
Don't
gonna do
let
enough.
the guy get killed.
We'll do enough to keep our job.
Right.
But you know, you want
Now
to.
Cutler is just I'm not a fan of his, so you don't
I
have to worry
think-
about talking about him.
I think Cutler, with the right coach and somebody to slap his ego a little bit, I think he could be a good quarterback. Do I
Yeah.
think he could be a great quarterback? Nah, I don't think the mechanics are there.
Here's a guy, Russell Wilson. This is why I'm an underdog type, and he was not highly regarded coming out of college. He was good at Wisconsin, but not, you know, there was how many quarterbacks? He was drafted 20-something, I think.
Right, there's a lot of quarterbacks that come out every year.
Right,
you
but
know.
this guy comes on. They have Seattle drafted, or not? I'm sorry, signed 2 or 3 other, you know, quarterbacks they thought were
Quarterbacks,
going to compete
right.
for the #1 spot. Flynn, they paid him all kind of money from Green Bay. This guy comes out of training camp as a starter, starts the whole year, and puts him in the playoffs his first year.
Right, his first year.
I mean, he's a winner.
He is
He's
a winner.
And this year, he even proved it more with the run. They got a great run.
And that's I don't want to get off subject, but I can't understand why any football team in the league doesn't pick up Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
He's not the best quarterback in the world, but his players believe in him, and he does find a way to win football games.
I liked him too.
You know,
I liked him.
absolutely. I think him not getting grabbed by Jacksonville when they were going through the struggle, or
Right.
you know, the Bears quarterback goes down, pick him up. The guy will play football for free.
Right.
He just wants to win.
Right.
You know,
Right.
very
You know,
respectful.
you know, Tebow-
What's going on with, changing the subject a little
Well, we got
bit?
one more game to talk about, Joe.
Let's talk about it. Let's do
Oh,
that
yes.
after this. What is going on with Hernandez, the alleged serial killer at this point? Yeah.
Oh, the tight end with the
Yes.
Rams? They don't even talk about it.
No, I
It's got
understand.
swept under the rug.
But
Yeah.
there's, I read something somewhere that now police think there's 1 or 2 more murders that he may have been responsible for. Do you hear anything?
I heard a little
Yeah.
blip on it. There was talk on one of those, you know, there's all kind of sports stations now, but
Mm.
yeah, they just talk very
So
little
you guys
about
don't know much about that?
They don't
Okay.
bring it up like
You know,
the
there's
movies.
been a couple.
Incidents.
There's a couple things I follow, and they've reported some stuff, but you just skip over it. You know, I think he's a waste. I mean, the guy was a talented athlete.
Right.
He really was got
Wasted
talented
the
athlete.
He'll play some good ball in prison.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will.
The prisons will fight for, you know, him.
But I think the guy's nuts.
Yeah, yeah.
I think he went nuts
I do
and
too.
whatever, but what a shame, because he was talented. It wasn't like a third stringer or a guy you never hear about. You
No,
know,
he
something
was
happened. He was a playmaker, and you know, that
But
was on
see,
the
that's the
field.
thing when New England, they lose him, they lose, what's his name,
Gronkowski.
Gronkowski.
My
was
favorite,
great.
he's my favorite football player.
Yeah,
right
he
now.
is unreal.
What was the other game I kind of
Okay.
stepped away from? I'm sorry.
The other game we have the New England
So we're
Patriots.
going with Seattle over,
I'm going with Seattle.
Frisco.
Big. Yes,
okay.
big. Now the other game, we have New England Patriots, who I think are 4-4 in their last 8 games. They
With
really
Brady, who's
they
a
really
winner.
turned it on at the end of the year. They have a lot of guys injured,
Right,
especially his favorite receiver, which is Gronkowski.
right.
He tore his MCL.
What's the other guy's
ACL.
name, white kid, Wexler, they traded him.
They treat well.
So he lost him to free agency.
Yeah,
He's with
Denver.
Denver.
Yes. you got two quarterbacks going at it, two of the greatest quarterbacks of all time that I think.
Yeah, they're
You
good.
know, you got Brady and Manning, another Brady Manning show. If you look into history, if you go back to Indianapolis, it's Indianapolis and New England, always in the Super Bowl. You always see that too. And those two leaders are there. However, I think the book, I couldn't believe it when I looked it up this morning. I think like 75% of the population is taking Brady. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I know Denver, they lost them 34-31, I think that week.
They claim that Brady has Peyton's number. They show like Brady has won 3-1.
3-1. But I don't think it's Brady that wins because I think the mastermind involved is his coach.
Right.
I think let's face it, you take the best of athletes and you put them on all these football teams. Okay, is any one greater than other? People could argue it, yes, no. I don't think so. I think they're just all at a superior, rank.
Exactly.
And
they're
I think
all at the same level.
they're all at the same level, and it comes down to a chess match between two coaches.
And who can motivate these guys?
Right, and I think Belichick is probably one of the number one guys
Yeah,
that could do that. But I'm not going to make a prediction on that game. I think I'm going to sit back, watch, and enjoy it. And
Speaking of NFL coaches, and I'm getting off subject, I'm sorry, but going back for a
Make
minute
his prediction.
to the, we're going to save the best
Yeah,
for
right,
last.
right.
The going back, and we will go back to your predictions, it's the most important part of the sports piece that you're involved in. But going back to your previous or your initial subject on the Guerin football team, going back to high school for a second, are they lined up to have a coach, an NFL player, to come in as coach?
yeah, they just announced a couple weeks ago that they're bringing Glenn. Could you say the last name? Kozlowski. He was a member of the '85 Bears.
Good Italian kid.
Yes, Italian. I believe he was a replacement player
Yeah.
that they kept on.
Ditka loved him. Loved
yes.
him.
He was a player.
Tough guy.
Tough kid. Probably could play any position you asked him to
Right.
at that time.
Right.
Holy Cross brought him in, and the reason why I think they made a big deal announcement about bringing him in. I believe he's turned around 2 programs.
Yes.
North Chicago and I think Waukegan.
Yeah, I can't remember. It was an article.
They were like 0-12 or 0-9. I'm sorry, they played 9 games. 0-9, 0-9, and then I think he went 7-2 and made the playoffs with North Chicago. But what's interesting, I read something that I believe that he lost his job because they came to the city to play Simeon, and during the game there was a blank clearing brawl between the 2 teams.
No kidding.
And so anyways, Holy Cross.
So they let him go?
I believe so.
Yeah.
That's the reason they let him go. But he did change around 2 programs. He's got his work cut out for them over there.
Is there participation there, or he's going to have to bring in kids too?
Here, the biggest thing when it comes to high school,
recruiting.
Is recruiting. And I have a struggle with this day in and day out. Is why does the South Side always do so good and the North Side can't do good?
Right.
It's the way they're recruiting. If you notice on the South Side, the way they do things.
You've been south side of the city of
Chicago, yes.
Yeah.
They recruit from their grammar schools.
Right.
And grammar school football is big on the South Side.
Like Mount Carmel.
Right.
St. Rita.
St.
Come
Rita,
back,
Brother
right?
Rice,
Brother Rice.
schools like that. But Mount Carmel, year after year after
Yeah,
year,
right.
they're ranked
Lenti.
number 1, 2.
Lenti's a great
Greatest,
coach.
one of the greatest high school football
Right.
coaches. But then you have on the north side of Chicago, it's all park leagues.
Right.
Okay, the park leagues and the Catholic schools cannot get on the same page.
Right.
They just won't do it. They don't want to sell out to one program.
Right.
Where I believe some of the Catholic schools on the south side say, well, we'll run your off and we'll teach this a little bit or whatever, because
Right.
we know you're going to the school. But, to throw a pickle into things, you got Maine South. Maine South recruits from the same area, their little Park Ridge
Right.
area.
Right.
They come from a park league, the Park Ridge Falcons.
Right.
Excellent coaching there. By far, excellent coaching. They put out a great team every year, too.
Maine South is always in there.
But look at the
They won, how
volume.
many? Did they win a couple championships
Yes,
in a row?
absolutely. But they recruit from a small area.
Right.
It has to do with
I
the
live
coaching.
there.
It
You're right.
boils down to the coaching.
Right,
You know?
absolutely. Who's their coach? Is it in Sarah or something, or?
I believe that's his first name, and somebody I know runs the offense.
Right.
He was a semi-pro football player. He's great at what he does. And
You go by that school, they're doing something
Mm.
all through the year, doing something
yeah,
there.
for the football
A
program.
lot of the kids come to that gym, that charter gym that you're a member of.
Oh, yes, in
Yeah.
Park Ridge?
Yeah,
Yeah,
a lot of the kids.
I'll be
are-
going there tomorrow morning, by the way. All right, your prediction on the Super Bowl.
Well, let's get through the playoffs first.
There, thank you.
Well, once I make this prediction, we know who's in the Super
Yeah,
Bowl.
right.
Yeah, right.
I think it's going to be a Broncos Seattle Super Bowl.
Broncos.
And who wins it?
Broncos.
When you
Because
think
guess
it's
where they're
sometime
playing?
In Denver?
You don't know where they're playing?
No. Oh,
They're
and
playing New York outside this year.
Wow.
Mm.
So,
You don't think Wilson can handle the outside?
well, I mean, if you see their road record or in
Right,
home
you're
record,
right, you're right.
they have that 12th man there, and they're impossible to beat. Not impossible. Teams have done it,
Right.
but yeah, when he gets on the road, I think it's going to be definitely a Manning Super Bowl.
Mm.
You know, and I'm sticking with that right now.
Yeah.
How about you, Frank? Let's hear what you think.
I like to say I really like both teams, Frisco and Seattle, but I like Seattle because of their quarterback. He's proven to me that he's taken all the hits and stands tall. But Kaepernick on Frisco's, he's been fantastic, really. But I have to go with Seattle on that. And on the other side, the Denver-New England game, I love Belichick, but Peyton Manning's having like a coach on the field, and I have to go with Denver there. In the Super Bowl, Seattle, I gotta go, yeah, Seattle. I have to
Yes.
go with Seattle.
And I did say defense wins
Yeah,
championship.
right,
They have the
they
better
got great,
D.
great defense.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's a wrap for our show today. Thank you for joining us, and we should be back sometime next week. We'll send you a little information on the written portion and the article portion of ANP explaining when that date will be. Guys, thanks for being here.
Thank you, it was
Great job,
enjoyable,
guys.
enjoyable show.